I know that since I was a little girl back in Detroit, that I have tried to keep the standards high.
Do you know why Diana Ross's fans have been particularly worried about her these past few days? It stems from her haunting revelation about her 80 years. My life has been plagued with more sorrow than most. It seems that even those closest to Diana Ross don't fully understand the hardships she's been through. Therefore, don't miss this video because it will give you details about the incidents that have tested Diana's patience over the years, including malicious media attacks on her reputation, embarrassing legal cases, difficult conflicts to resolve, and her worrying health problems. Be sure to watch until the end to find out her current condition. Diana Ross admitted that she encountered many incidents that tarnished her reputation throughout her potential career, which she called tragic. A prime example is the new biography of legendary singer Diana Ross, written by author J. Randy Taraborelli, which sheds light on the side of the iconic star that many may not have seen before. Titled Diana Ross and scheduled for release in September, the book delves into Ross's professional and personal life, uncovering moments that paint the singer as a demanding and, at times, difficult boss. According to Taraborelli, Ross has exhibited behavior that reflects her high expectations and her tendency to swiftly dismiss staff when things do not go her way, sometimes for seemingly minor reasons. Taraborelli claims that Ross has been known to fire her entire staff when unfavorable stories about her were leaked to the press. These abrupt decisions reportedly stemmed from her desire to maintain a tight control over her public image, and her frustration when staff members, either intentionally or accidentally, allowed damaging information to be revealed. The author alleges that this pattern of firing staff was not an isolated occurrence, but rather a consistent theme throughout her career. Not only would Ross dismiss employees, but she is also said to have blacklisted many of them, preventing them from working for other high-profile figures in the industry after they had fallen out of favor with her. One of the more surprising revelations in the biography is the claim that Diana Ross enlisted her daughter Tracy Ellis Ross to act as a sort of undercover agent among the staff. Taraborelli alleges that Tracy, who has since gained her own fame as an actress, was tasked by her mother to spy on the employees and report back if any misbehavior occurred. This behavior may have reflected Ross's deep mistrust of those around her, particularly her staff, and her perceived need to keep tight control over her work environment. An example of Ross's harsh treatment of her employees is highlighted in an incident involving her former assistant, Michael Brown. Taraborelli recounts a particular situation where Brown was reprimanded by Ross for failing to hide a large sum of gifts, reportedly worth $100,000, on a private jet. The flight was carrying Ross and her daughters to Las Vegas, and the singer was displeased that the presents were not properly concealed. The fact that the gifts were such a significant amount highlights the extravagant lifestyle that Ross has maintained throughout her career, but it also demonstrates her demanding nature when it comes to those working for her. The biography also touches on Ross's relationships with her former bandmates from the Supremes, specifically Florence Ballard and Mary Wilson. While the Supremes achieved incredible success together in the 1960s, their personal relationships were reportedly more complicated. One of the most striking accusations in the biography is the claim that Ross upstaged Ballard even at the latter's funeral. Taraborelli alleges that during the service, Ross took control of the microphone and made an announcement to the congregation that she and Mary Wilson wished to lead a silent prayer. According to the author, it was apparent that Wilson was uncomfortable with this gesture and that the last thing she wanted to do was join Ross at the altar and be the center of attention. Shortly after the publication of Diana Ross's biography, many people changed their attitudes towards her. Diana Ross admitted that she had encountered many difficulties in her career because of it. However, her tragic story did not end there. Another difficult milestone appeared for her in 2020. At this time, Diana Ross embarked on what was supposed to be a highly anticipated reunion tour with the Supremes, titled Return to Love. Given the incredible success and legacy of the Supremes, this tour had the potential to reignite the magic of one of the most influential girl groups of all time. However, instead of becoming a celebration of their groundbreaking contributions to Motown and pop music, the tour was mired in controversy and disappointment, ultimately leading to its premature cancellation. The crux of the controversy stemmed from Ross's decision to exclude the original Supremes members, Mary Wilson and Cindy Birdsong, from the reunion. Both Wilson and Birdsong were integral to the group during their 1960s heyday, with Wilson being one of the founding members alongside Ross and Florence Ballard. Despite their crucial roles in shaping the group's legacy, they were notably absent from the Return to Love tour lineup. Instead, Ross performed with replacement members Sherry Payne and Linda Lawrence, who had joined the group after Ross had already left in 1970 to pursue a solo career. The decision to omit Wilson and Birdsong sparked widespread criticism. Fans had long associated the Supremes with the original trio, or at least with the core members who contributed to the group's golden years at Motown. Wilson, in particular, had stayed with the Supremes after Ross's departure and had continued to carry the legacy of the group through the 1970s. Her absence from the tour was seen by many as a snub, and the omission of such an iconic member from what was billed as a reunion felt disingenuous to fans. For them, it simply wasn't the Supremes without Wilson or Birdsong. Part of the controversy also centered around financial negotiations. According to reports, Wilson had been approached about participating in the reunion tour, but she turned down the offer due to what she felt was an unfair financial arrangement. While Ross was set to earn millions for her role in the tour, Wilson was reportedly offered a significantly smaller sum, a discrepancy that left a bitter taste and reinforced the perception that Ross was the dominant figure controlling the legacy of the Supremes. This led to strained relations between Ross and Wilson, further deepening the divide that had existed between them since the group's early years. Fans, aware of this tension, were disappointed that what could have been a historic reunion was overshadowed by disputes over money and power dynamics. As the tour kicked off, it quickly became apparent that the absence of Wilson and Birdsong was having a negative impact on both the public's perception and ticket sales. Many longtime fans of the Supremes felt that the tour lacked authenticity without the presence of the original members, and some even refused to attend as a result. This backlash translated into underwhelming attendance figures at several of the tour's venues. While there was still a core group of devoted Diana Ross fans who attended the shows, the excitement and energy that typically accompanied such a high-profile reunion were noticeably lacking. Compounding the issue was the fact that the chemistry between Ross and the replacement members, Payne and Lawrence, simply didn't capture the same magic that fans had come to expect from the Supremes. While both Payne and Lawrence were talented performers in their own right, they did not share the same history or emotional connection with Ross that Wilson and Birdsong had. As a result, the performances felt more like a Diana Ross solo concert with backup singers rather than a true Supremes reunion. Critics, too, were quick to point out this dynamic, with reviews often highlighting the lack of synergy on stage. Financially, the tour became a struggle. With low ticket sales in several cities, the tour was unable to generate the revenue that had been anticipated. Promoters, initially optimistic about the potential success of the reunion, began to scale back their expectations as more venues failed to sell out. The Return to Love tour, which had been expected to draw large crowds eager to relive the hits of the 1960s, instead faced the harsh reality of empty seats and dwindling enthusiasm. Maybe you forgot, Diana Ross had a scary lesson during her collaboration with Motown Records, something that haunts her to this day. As the lead singer of the Supremes, Ross was a key player in Motown's golden era during the 1960s. Under Gordy's vision and leadership, the group went on to become one of the most successful musical acts of all time, with a string of hits that helped define the sound of a generation. However, despite the immense success Ross achieved with Motown, her relationship with Gordy, both professionally and personally, was marked by significant struggles and tensions. One of the most prominent sources of conflict between Ross and Gordy centered around the direction of her career. Gordy, a shrewd businessman with an eye for talent, recognized early on that Ross had the potential to become a solo star. He gradually shifted the spotlight onto her within the Supremes, and by the time the group was at its peak, Ross was positioned as the clear frontwoman. This move, while commercially successful, created tension within the group, particularly with Mary Wilson and Florence Ballard, who felt sidelined and increasingly marginalized. Gordy's decision to rename the group Diana Ross and the Supremes in 1967 only further highlighted Ross's elevated status, and the internal strife eventually led to Ballard's departure from the group. As Gordy continued to prioritize Ross's solo potential, the relationship between the two became more complicated. On one hand, Gordy was instrumental in crafting Ross's image and guiding her toward a successful solo career after she left the Supremes in 1970. He meticulously managed her transition from group member to solo artist, and her debut solo album, Diana Ross, was a commercial success. Hits like Ain't No Mountain High Enough further solidified her place as a star outside of the Supremes, and Gordy played a crucial role in shaping this next phase of her career. However, as Ross gained more success and independence, she began to push back against Gordy's control, leading to clashes over creative direction and career decisions. Ross, like many artists, wanted more autonomy in shaping her musical journey. By the mid-1970s, she was eager to experiment with her sound, explore acting opportunities, and expand her influence in the entertainment industry. Gordy, however, was known for being hands-on with his artists, particularly those he had personally nurtured, like Ross. He had a specific vision for her career and was sometimes resistant to ideas that deviated from his blueprint. This led to conflicts over song choices, musical collaborations, and the overall direction of her career. For example, Ross's desire to venture into acting, most notably with her role in the 1972 film Lady Sings the Blues, initially faced some resistance from Gordy, who was concerned about how it might affect her musical output. However, Ross's critically acclaimed performance in the film earned her an Academy Award nomination, proving her instincts were right. The tension between Ross and Gordy was further complicated by their personal relationship. By the late 1960s, the two had become romantically involved, a relationship that persisted for several years. This romance blurred the lines between their professional and personal lives, and the dynamic between them grew even more complex when Ross gave birth to her first child, Rhonda, in 1971. It was later revealed that Gordy was Rhonda's biological father, though this information was kept private for many years. The revelation that they shared a child added another layer to their already fraught relationship. The professional tension between Ross and Gordy was often intertwined with their personal connection, making it difficult for either party to separate the two aspects of their relationship. As Ross continued to assert her independence in both her career and personal life, she grew more determined to break free from Gordy's influence. By the late 1970s, Ross's desire for autonomy reached a breaking point, and in 1981, she made the decision to leave Motown, the label that had been her home for nearly 2 decades. Her departure was a significant moment, not just for Ross, but for Motown as well. For many, Ross had become the face of the label, and her decision to sign with RCA Records in a then record-breaking $20 million deal marked the end of an era. While her career has been marked by immense success, her personal life, particularly her marriages, has been a source of both joy and heartache. Ross experienced 2 high-profile marriages, both of which ended in divorce. Her first marriage to music manager Robert Ellis Silberstein and her second to Norwegian shipping magnate Arne Næss Jr. were defining relationships that brought love and stability, but also challenges and, ultimately, public scrutiny when they came to an end. Ross's first marriage to Robert Ellis Silberstein took place at the height of her fame as a solo artist after her successful transition from lead singer of the Supremes. Silberstein, a music executive and producer, was instrumental in helping Ross navigate her early solo career. The couple married in January 1971, just months after the birth of Ross's first daughter, Rhonda, who had been fathered by Motown founder Berry Gordy. Despite the unconventional circumstances surrounding Rhonda's birth, Silberstein raised her as his own and remained a loving father figure to her, a testament to his commitment to Ross and her growing family. The marriage between Ross and Silberstein was initially seen as a strong partnership. The couple welcomed two more daughters, Tracy Ellis Ross and Chudney Ross, and for a time they presented the image of a happy, thriving family. Ross's career continued to flourish, and Silberstein managed her business affairs, helping to guide her through a crucial period of growth as a solo artist. However, as the pressures of Ross's fame and demanding career mounted, the cracks in their relationship began to show. Balancing her career and family life became increasingly difficult for Ross, who was constantly in the spotlight and often away from home due to her touring and acting commitments. Silberstein, while supportive of her career, reportedly struggled with the intense public attention that came with being married to such a high-profile figure. Over time, the demands of Ross's career took a toll on their marriage, and by 1977, the couple had grown apart. They finalized their divorce that year, bringing an end to their 6-year marriage. Despite their separation, Ross and Silberstein remained amicable co-parents, with Silberstein maintaining close relationships with all 3 of Ross's daughters. Following her divorce from Silberstein, Ross focused on her career and her role as a mother, but love would find her again nearly a decade later. In 1985, while on a trip to the Bahamas, Ross met Arne Næss Jr., a Norwegian shipping magnate and adventurer. Næss was a charismatic and wealthy businessman who shared Ross's passion for life and travel. Their whirlwind romance quickly blossomed, and in 1986, the couple married in a lavish ceremony that reflected both their deep affection for one another and their desire to blend their lives together. Ross's marriage to Næss was seen by many as a fresh start. The couple divided their time between homes in the U.S. and Europe, and Ross embraced her new role as a wife and stepmother to Næss's 3 children from his previous marriage. In addition, Ross and Næss welcomed 2 sons of their own, Ross Arne and Evan Olav. For a time, the couple appeared to have found the balance that had eluded Ross in her first marriage. She continued her career, but her life with Næss brought a sense of stability and fulfillment, especially as they raised their blended family. However, as with her first marriage, the pressures of fame and distance began to strain Ross's relationship with Næss. His business interests, which often required him to travel extensively, coupled with Ross's own professional commitments, made it difficult for the couple to maintain the closeness they once shared. Næss, who was known for his love of adventure and outdoor pursuits, also had a lifestyle that sometimes clashed with Ross's world of show business. Over time, the differences in their lives and priorities became more pronounced. By the late 1990s, rumors of marital troubles began to surface. Næss had reportedly become involved with another woman, which strained his relationship with Ross. In 1999, Næss publicly acknowledged that he had fallen in love with another woman, leading to the couple's separation. Ross, who had cherished her marriage to Næss and the life they had built together, was devastated by the end of their relationship. The couple officially divorced in 2000, bringing an end to their 14-year marriage. The end of both of Ross's marriages was not only a source of personal heartache, but also fodder for the public and media. As one of the most famous women in the world, Ross's personal life was often scrutinized, and her divorces were widely reported in the press. Despite the challenges she faced, Ross remained focused on her children and her career, finding strength in her role as a mother and a performer. Her resilience in the face of personal difficulties only added to her mystique as a public figure who, while glamorous and successful, also faced the same trials as anyone else when it came to love and relationships. In the years following her second divorce, Ross continued to maintain close relationships with her children, including those she shared with both Silberstein and Ness. She also remained friendly with her ex-husbands, particularly Ness, with whom she shared a strong bond due to their children. Tragically, Ness died in a climbing accident in 2004, a loss that deeply affected Ross and their sons. Despite their divorce, Ness had remained an important figure in Ross's life, and his untimely death was a significant blow to the family. It can be said that Diana Ross was unlucky in her relationships with her two husbands, but she was even unluckier in her relationship with her children. Reportedly, her relationships with her children, particularly her daughters Tracy and Chudney, have been marked by periods of tension and estrangement. These instances of distance have been notable for their public visibility, often leading to media speculation and public interest. The estrangement between Ross and her daughters, especially Tracy Ellis Ross, has been a recurring theme in the media. Tracy, who is a well-known actress and television personality, has spoken candidly about the complexities of her relationship with her mother. While their bond has been a subject of public fascination, it has also been fraught with periods of distance. The tensions between Ross and her daughters have been attributed to various factors, including differences in lifestyle, career pressures, and personal expectations. In particular, Tracy Ellis Ross, who has built her own successful career, has been vocal about the impact of growing up in the shadow of her mother's fame. The dynamics of their relationship have sometimes been characterized by the challenges of living under the scrutiny of the public eye, which can exacerbate personal conflicts. Tracy's own career achievements and public persona have occasionally clashed with her mother's established legacy, adding to the emotional complexity of their relationship. The public nature of these estrangements has added emotional strain to Ross's life. Media outlets have often reported on the ups and downs of her familial relationships, highlighting periods of tension as well as moments of reconciliation. This public scrutiny can intensify the emotional impact of personal disputes, as private matters become subject to public analysis and commentary. Despite these periods of estrangement, there have also been moments of reconciliation and healing. Ross and her daughters have made efforts to mend their relationships, often appearing together at public events and sharing positive statements about one another. These reconciliations have been significant not only for their personal relationships, but also for their public image. They reflect the ongoing efforts to navigate and repair familial bonds amidst the challenges of high-profile lives. The emotional strain of these familial tensions is compounded by the pressures of fame and the public's interest in the personal lives of celebrities. For Ross, balancing her career with her role as a mother has been a challenging task, particularly when personal conflicts are played out in the media. The visibility of these issues can add layers of complexity to an already demanding life, influencing how Ross manages her relationships and handles public perceptions. Continuing her series of tragic events, in 1999, Diana Ross experienced a harrowing event that served off the physical dangers that even the most glamorous celebrities could face. While in London, Ross was involved in a serious car accident that left her with broken ribs, forcing her to momentarily step away from her demanding career to focus on her recovery. The incident not only highlighted the physical risks associated with the constant travel and hectic schedules that come with a life in the spotlight, but also demonstrated Ross's resilience in the face of personal adversity. At the time of the accident, Ross was still actively involved in her career, frequently traveling between the U.S. and Europe for performances, public appearances, and other professional obligations. London was a familiar city for Ross, where she had enjoyed significant success throughout her career, both as the lead singer of the Supremes and as a solo artist. The city had been the site of many of her international triumphs, and she was accustomed to its fast-paced lifestyle. The accident occurred as Ross was being driven in a private car, typical of the transportation arrangements for high-profile celebrities on the go. The specifics of the crash revealed just how unpredictable and dangerous such incidents can be, regardless of one's status or preparation. While details about the accident's exact cause remain sparse, reports indicated that it was serious enough to leave Ross with multiple broken ribs, a painful and debilitating injury that required immediate medical attention. Rib fractures are known to be particularly painful, as the ribs play a crucial role in the body's movement and breathing. For someone as active as Diana Ross, the injury represented not just physical pain, but also a disruption to her professional commitments. At the time of the accident, Ross was involved in various projects, including live performances and appearances. The broken ribs forced her to take a step back from her usually packed schedule to focus on healing. It was a rare moment of pause for a woman whose career had been defined by constant movement, relentless touring, and dedication to her craft. Despite the severity of the accident, Ross's recovery was relatively swift. She underwent treatment and rehabilitation, allowing her ribs to heal and enabling her to return to her professional life. However, the accident left a lasting impact, both physically and emotionally. For Ross, the incident was a reminder of the vulnerabilities that come with being constantly on the move, whether traveling for work or personal engagements. In the high-pressure world of show business, where schedules are tight and appearances are often made in different parts of the world within days, the risks of accidents and injuries increase exponentially. Beyond the personal implications, Ross's accident also drew attention to the broader physical risks that celebrities face, particularly those who spend a significant portion of their lives on the road. For high-profile figures like Ross, constant travel is often seen as a glamorous part of the job. But in reality, it comes with its own set of dangers. Long hours on the road, frequent flights, and the need to maintain an intense schedule can increase the likelihood of accidents, fatigue, and stress-related injuries. Ross's accident underscored the fact that, despite their fame and fortune, celebrities are not immune to the dangers that everyday people face. Diana Ross's tragic accident did not stop there. In July 2000, she continued experiencing a shocking and unexpected accident while performing at a major concert in London's Hyde Park. What began as another anticipated appearance by the music icon turned into a night of concern as Ross fell from the stage, sustaining bruises and minor injuries. The incident, while not life-threatening, served as a stark reminder of the physical dangers performers face while engaging with their audiences, often on elaborate stages with complex setups. The fall not only improved Ross's performance, but also raised questions about performer safety during large-scale concerts. At the time of the concert, Ross was still one of the most beloved and respected entertainers in the world, with a career spanning over 3 decades. She was headlining a special outdoor event in Hyde Park, London, as part of a summer concert series. These kinds of events drew large crowds, and the 2000 Hyde Park concert was no exception. Thousands of fans had gathered to see Ross perform live, excited to witness the legend in person. Outdoor concerts, particularly in a setting as iconic as Hyde Park, tend to have unique challenges, including weather conditions, stage design, and the sheer scale of the production. Ross, a consummate professional, had performed in countless venues worldwide, but even her extensive experience could not prepare her for the accident that would unfold that evening. As Ross took the stage that evening, she delivered her signature energy and charisma, engaging the audience with some of her biggest hits and commanding the vast outdoor stage. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until, during one of her songs, she made a misstep near the edge of the stage. In what seemed like a split second, Ross lost her footing and fell off the stage, landing in an area below. The fall shocked both the audience and her team, and there was an immediate sense of concern as the music stopped and people rushed to her aid. Ross, though clearly shaken by the incident, was remarkably composed in the moments following the fall. She sustained bruises and minor injuries, but luckily the fall had not resulted in any broken bones or more severe harm. However, the shock and discomfort from the accident were enough to cut her performance short. While Ross was known for her resilience and dedication to her craft, it was evident that continuing the show would not be possible given the circumstances. The immediate response to Ross's fall was one of concern for her well-being. Fans, many of whom had been ecstatic to see her perform live, were left in suspense as Ross was attended to by medical personnel. In a brief statement following the accident, it was confirmed that Ross had suffered minor injuries but would recover fully. Her team assured the public that while the fall had been frightening, Ross was in good spirits and focused on healing. The media coverage of the incident focused heavily on the fall itself, with many outlets reporting on the details of the accident and Ross's subsequent recovery. For Ross, the incident was no doubt a sobering experience, but she handled it with her characteristic poise and professionalism. In the days following the accident, she thanked her fans for their support and reassured them that she would be back on stage soon. Ross's determination to move past the incident and continue performing was a testament to her enduring passion for her career and her commitment to her fans. Despite the interruption to her Hyde Park performance, Ross quickly recovered from her injuries and resumed her professional activities not long after the fall. While the incident could have been far more serious, Ross's ability to bounce back was a reflection of her resilience. For many of her fans, the accident only deepened their admiration for her. It was clear that Ross, even in the face of physical challenges, was dedicated to her craft and to bringing joy to her audiences. In 2002, Diana Ross found herself facing a deeply personal and public setback when she was arrested for driving under the influence, DUI, in Tucson, Arizona. The arrest marked an unfortunate moment in her otherwise celebrated life, as Ross became the subject of media scrutiny and public embarrassment. The incident led to a brief time in jail, court appearances, and a sentence that included community service. While it was a difficult and humbling experience for Ross, the incident also reflected the intense pressures celebrities face and the vulnerabilities that can accompany a life lived in the spotlight. On December 30th, 2002, Diana Ross was driving in Tucson when she was pulled over by local police for driving erratically. According to reports, officers on duty noticed her swerving across lanes, prompting them to stop her vehicle. Once stopped, Ross was subjected to a field sobriety test, which she reportedly failed. The test revealed that she was impaired, leading to her arrest on charges of driving under the influence. The news of Ross's arrest quickly made headlines, drawing significant media attention both in the U.S. and internationally. Ross's arrest was particularly shocking to many because of her carefully crafted public image as a graceful, sophisticated, and composed entertainer. Throughout her career, she had largely avoided the kind of negative press and personal scandals that often plagued other celebrities of her stature. Her arrest for DUI seemed out of character and brought with it a wave of media coverage that focused not only on the details of her arrest, but also on the broader implications for her personal life and career. The legal consequences of the arrest unfolded in the weeks following the incident. After being taken into custody, Ross was held briefly in jail before being released. She later appeared in court to face the charges, where she pleaded no contest to the DUI charge. As part of her sentencing, Ross was ordered to serve a short jail sentence and complete community service. The sentence also included a fine and mandatory alcohol counseling, reflecting the seriousness of the offense. For Ross, the DUI arrest was undoubtedly a moment of profound embarrassment. Not only was she forced to confront her actions in a very public way, but she also had to reckon with the fact that her behavior had put herself and others at risk. Driving under the influence is a serious offense, and Ross's arrest highlighted the dangers of impaired driving, no matter who the individual may be. The public, accustomed to seeing Ross as a poised and polished figure, was now seeing her in a much more vulnerable light. The media's response to Ross's arrest was intense. Tabloids and news outlets alike reported extensively on the incident, dissecting the details of the night she was arrested and speculating about what might have led to the event. For a woman who had spent much of her life under public scrutiny, this was a particularly challenging episode. The coverage of her DUI arrest was not just about the legal ramifications, but also about the impact it had on her reputation. Fans and the general public were left to reconcile the image of the glamorous Diana Ross with the reality of her personal struggles. In the wake of the arrest, Ross took responsibility for her actions. She complied with the court's requirements, including serving her community service and attending alcohol counseling. The experience was a humbling one for Ross, but it also offered an opportunity for reflection and growth. While the media coverage of the incident was intense and often unforgiving, Ross's handling of the aftermath showed her willingness to confront her mistakes and make amends. One of the consequences of the arrest was the impact it had on Ross's public image. For a time, the incident overshadowed her professional accomplishments, with the media focusing on her legal troubles rather than her musical legacy. However, Ross had built a career based on resilience, and she was determined not to let this setback define her. In the months and years that followed, she worked to rebuild her public image, returning to the stage and continuing her career as one of the world's most beloved performers. This legal trouble of Diana Ross reminds us of another embarrassing legal case of her in 1990. The legal troubles began when a former staff member, identified as Michael Brown, initiated legal action against Ross. Brown, who had worked as an assistant to Ross, claimed that he had been terminated from his position unfairly and without proper cause. According to the lawsuit, Brown alleged that his dismissal was in violation of the terms outlined in his employment contract, which he argued had guaranteed job security and specific conditions for termination. The lawsuit also accused Ross of breaching her contractual obligations. Brown claimed that Ross had failed to adhere to the agreed-upon terms of his employment, which included provisions related to his role, responsibilities, and compensation. The specifics of the breach of contract allegations were centered on claims that Ross had not fulfilled her end of the agreement, leading to Brown's claim for damages and compensation. In addition to the wrongful termination and breach of contract allegations, the lawsuit included accusations of mistreatment and an unfavorable working environment. Brown's legal team argued that Ross had created a hostile work environment which, combined with the wrongful termination, had caused significant emotional and professional distress for Brown. The legal battle quickly attracted media attention, exacerbating Ross's already high-profile public controversies. During the late 1990s, Ross was grappling with various issues, including a high-profile car accident in London in 1999 and public scrutiny over her personal life and career decisions. The lawsuit added another layer of complexity to her public image, as it brought to light the less glamorous aspects of working with one of the world's most famous entertainers. The public and media were keenly interested in the details of the lawsuit, with many outlets reporting extensively on the case. The coverage often focused on the sensational aspects of the allegations, as well as the broader implications for Ross's professional reputation. The lawsuit was portrayed as a dramatic legal clash between a high-profile celebrity and a former employee, with the media scrutinizing every development in the case. In response to the lawsuit, Ross maintained a relatively low profile. Her legal team issued statements addressing the allegations, often emphasizing that the claims were unfounded and that Ross had acted in accordance with the terms of the employment contract. Ross herself chose not to engage extensively with the media regarding the case, preferring to let her legal team handle the public aspects of the dispute. The legal proceedings were complex and drawn out, involving numerous court hearings and legal arguments. As the case progressed, it became clear that the legal battle was taking a toll on Ross. The stress of the lawsuit, combined with other public controversies she was facing, created a challenging period in her life. Despite the difficulties, Ross continued to focus on her career and public appearances, demonstrating her commitment to maintaining her professional life amidst the legal and personal challenges. Ultimately, the lawsuit was settled out of court, with both parties reaching a resolution that avoided further public litigation. The terms of the settlement were not disclosed, but the resolution allowed Ross to move forward from the legal dispute and focus on her career. The case highlighted the often hidden aspects of a celebrity's professional life, including the complexities of employment relationships and the potential for legal disputes. The tragedies that took place in Diana Ross's life cannot stop here. She also had to go through many other shocks when her relatives passed away one by one. Among the most impactful of these losses was the passing of her sister, Barbara Ross Lee, in 2021. This event marked a deeply emotional period for Ross, reflecting the private grief and personal struggles that accompany public figures, despite their often glossy public personas. Barbara Ross Lee, Diana Ross's younger sister, was not just a family member but also a respected professional in her own right. Born in 1947, Ross Lee was a distinguished figure in the medical field. She was a trailblazer as one of the first African-American women to become a doctor of osteopathic medicine and had a notable career as an educator and advocate in the field of medicine. Her accomplishments were significant and contributed to her reputation as a pioneering figure in healthcare. The loss of Barbara Ross Lee in 2021 was a poignant moment for Diana Ross, who had always maintained close familial bonds despite the demands of her high-profile career. Ross Lee's passing was particularly hard for Diana, given the deep connection they shared and the mutual support they provided each other throughout their lives. The two sisters were known to be very close, with Ross often speaking about the strong familial ties that shaped her personal and professional life. Barbara's death not only marked the end of a significant chapter in Ross's life, but also brought to light the personal side of the glamorous and often publicized life of a celebrity. The grief Ross experienced was compounded by the nature of public life, where personal tragedies are often exposed to the scrutiny of media and fans. Despite this, Ross's handling of her sister's death was marked by a sense of dignity and privacy. She chose to address the loss with a restrained public acknowledgement, allowing her to grieve privately while still maintaining a degree of separation from the relentless media attention that often accompanies high-profile figures. In the wake of Barbara Ross Lee's passing, Diana Ross reflected on the impact her sister had on her life and career. Barbara's achievements and her role as a supportive sister were central to Ross's own narrative, underscoring the importance of family in shaping her personal and professional identity. The death of such a close family member likely brought a period of introspection and re-evaluation for Ross, highlighting the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing loved ones. The public's response to Barbara Ross Lee's death also illustrated the respect and admiration she had garnered over her career. Tributes and condolences from fans, colleagues, and the broader community underscored the significant impact both Barbara and Diana Ross had made in their respective fields. While the media focused on celebrating Barbara's accomplishments and her role as Diana Ross's sister, it also served as a reminder of the personal cost of fame and the reality of experiencing profound loss in the public eye. In addition to the loss of loved ones, now, at the age of 80, Diana Ross is facing health problems. Diana Ross candidly discussed her experience with anorexia, a serious eating disorder characterized by an intense fear of gaining weight and a distorted body image. Ross attributed the onset of her eating disorder to the extreme pressures and expectations she faced while performing with the Supremes, one of the most successful and influential girl groups of the 1960s. The relentless demands of fame, combined with the scrutiny of public and media expectations regarding her appearance, contributed to her struggles with body image and eating habits. The pressure to maintain a particular physical appearance in the entertainment industry can be overwhelming, and for Ross, this pressure was exacerbated by the high visibility of her career. The fame and success of the Supremes came with a constant focus on their looks, which likely contributed to Ross's struggle with anorexia. The desire to meet industry standards of beauty and the fear of falling short of expectations can have devastating effects on mental and physical health, as was the case for Ross. Fortunately, Ross has shared that she has since recovered from her eating disorder, a testament to her resilience and determination. Recovery from anorexia is a complex and challenging journey, involving both physical and psychological healing. Ross's ability to overcome the disorder and move forward in her life reflects her strength and the support she received throughout her recovery process. In recent years, Ross has been open about her commitment to maintaining her health and well-being, underscoring the importance of self-care in her life. In a tweet from 2021, Ross expressed her focus on health and fitness, stating, "Today I've been thinking about my health and well-being. We are all getting back to busy. Time to get my body moving." This message was a clear indication of her ongoing dedication to prioritizing her health, particularly as she navigates the demands of her career and personal life. At the beginning of 2022, Ross provided her followers with a glimpse into her health routine, demonstrating her proactive approach to maintaining her well-being. She shared that she was starting an intermittent fasting regimen, describing her daily routine of consuming lemon water and vegetable broth, with a light meal planned for later in the day. Ross noted, "Went to bed at 8:30 p.m. and will have a light meal at 12:30 p.m. minus 16 hours, easing into this new year." This insight into her health routine highlights her commitment to managing her diet and exercise in a mindful and balanced manner. Ross's approach to health in recent years reflects a broader awareness of the importance of self-care and physical wellness. Her public statements about health and exercise, coupled with her ongoing commitment to maintaining a healthy lifestyle, indicate a proactive and positive outlook on personal well-being. This shift from her past struggles with anorexia to a focus on health and fitness underscores her journey toward recovery and her dedication to leading a balanced life. What do you think about the difficulties that Diana Ross had to go through? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.